Is the stock market about to crash? Is Michael Burry right? This seems to have got a lot of you scared. Let's just have a look at the data. Okay, so the first things first, stock market update, and this is broadcast on the 16th of August. The first thing we want to look at through all of that is, well, price earnings ratios. Now, why should this suddenly have panicked the short sellers? It shouldn't, because it's been like this for an awfully long time. So it's not that you're paying $33 for a dollar of profits in Microsoft, or you're paying $109, that's got cheaper by the way, for a dollar in profit of Amazon. You were paying about $300 for a dollar in profit of Amazon. How do you pay? Well, when you buy the shares. Energy and banks remain cheap, but people still are a little bit reticent to go into them for obvious reasons. When you look at energy and you look at banks, well, with energy you worry about recession, and with banks you just worry about some kind of tax or recession. So let's have a look at performance this past week. Well, the market has indeed been spooked somewhat. It's on a little bit of downward momentum for now. Is that going to last or not? I'm going to show you a couple of slides which will answer that. But before I do, let's look at price earnings growth ratio. We want these to be below 1 for a company to be undervalued. It's the share price relative to growth in profits, okay? And there's very little which is undervalued. GE to some extent. Green is what suggests undervalued. You wouldn't normally find things necessarily undervalued, because the market's pretty good at shoving a load of cash into them if they are. So we turn then to where we are. Well, the Nasdaq's up only 37%. It peaked at up 44%, and the S&P 500 is now up 15%. Those are still pretty bloody good returns. I think you'll agree. That being the case, this is what we want to look at. This is what Michael Burry and all the short sellers think is going to absolutely crash and burn. Well, they're calling it pretty early. If they're right, they're calling it right at the peak of the market. And the reason why I think they're calling it early, and I'm not saying they're necessarily wrong, I just don't think they're right as things stand, is that can easily fall. The S&P can continue falling and still be on this upward channel, which it has been before. Okay, and when I look at the monthly MACD, which is the blue dotted line, and indeed the weekly, well, they're not quite collapsing, are they? And that's what I'd really want to see. So if I was going to say yes, they're right. So I think they're somewhat premature. And in the past, of course, if we look at just the stochastic, which is a bit premature, a bit more sensitive to price movements, well, it's been like that in the past. And unless you've got these, the MACDs, weekly and monthly, also falling, you're really not going to get more of a bigger move down. All you're going to get is a temporary fall like this one. And I'm still putting my money on the fall being temporary rather than more longer term. FTSE, well, I've said it before and I've said it again, and I'll be right again. I said that fall is going to be in that direction, and you can see the momentum. So those of you, well, if you're not on my Great Investments program and you're still stuck in UK stocks, UK index, well, you're probably getting screwed right now, and you have been for a while. So where are we on Apple? Okay, where are we on Apple? Well, it's fallen off a little bit of a cliff over here. Okay, so that upward trend has been penetrated. We see this going flat, a bit like the S&P 500. This has fallen off, and this is peaked low. And to be honest, this is a precursor to what's going to happen with the S&P. So as long as Apple doesn't fall sharply, as long as this, and that's the thing to look out for, the weekly MACD is going to be the real clue in all of this, doesn't fall. Because if that does fall sharply, then the monthly will fall. And then we'll see a more sharper fall like we did here. Now, at the moment, my money's not on that. I don't think that'll happen. And certainly the analysts, and they're always over-optimistic, they certainly think we've got, on average, another 13% to the upside on that one. How about Alphabet? Well, look, that's Alphabet. That's the direction. And this is where we are on this. And I still think we've got some upside movement on that one. Similarly with Microsoft, and you saw it with Apple, I already mentioned. This is falling. The issue is, will it fall all the way down there, or will it fall a little bit? And either way, this upward move has been broken. So at the moment, if you said to me, would you buy Microsoft? I'd say, well, actually, I'd just wait another week, see what happens, wait another week, see what happens. Because ideally, this is going to move lower and give us it a bit cheaper next week, perhaps. So I'd rather wait. And this one's very telling, is Apple. And actually the one worth probably looking at more closely. You see those falls, the upward trend broken. Microsoft has fallen more than Apple, and it's really that weekly MACD. What's going to happen with that? And you can keep watching that weekly MACD, that solid blue line. If that falls, as it has done here, it could potentially drag this low, which means that the falls are more serious, albeit it could equally just do what it's done in the past, here or here, or here, or here, or here, which is actually, it's just a little bit of a blip before it all starts continuing going upwards. And I'd rather suggest it's going to be a blip before it goes upwards. Okay. Amazon's holding up very well indeed. As you can see, it's holding up very well indeed. By the way, September's usually an awful month for Amazon. Certainly has been since 2015, hasn't it? So you can see that, you can see the upside. Now, Disney, I wouldn't buy this today, but it's just a showcase. Some people, they drawn to this because they go, oh my God, you mean it's fallen from that to that? Surely it can do that. Well, it hasn't been. I won't buy it today. I'll just wait a bit more. Let's wait until Friday or next Wednesday's broadcast to determine what the hell's going to happen with that. NVIDIA. So many of you have been asking about this. So let me repeat what I've said before. NVIDIA fallen off a bit. If you are risk averse, you would take your profits since January when we first said to buy into it. You'd take your whatever return that is, that massive fat return you've had of maybe 200%, and you'd run. If you're more risk loving, you would wait. If you want to have this for strategic reasons, that you just think you want to be involved in AI, then you might wait. You might sell 50% on that basis. And in the Great Investments Program, these are the things that we teach, that sliding scale of deciding where to go. So you're not taking too much risk and you're pocketing some of your returns. Tesla, there we go. That's the upward trend. This is what we're expecting. And I've said it since the start of the year, and you've had a nice big fat return since the start of the year. So that's all well and good on that one. Meta hasn't fallen off too much. And the worry here is, again, will, like Microsoft, this go lower and thereby drag this lower, in which case this fall would be quite substantial. However, as things stand, it's too early to tell, and I would put my money on, whilst this will fall a bit, it will then go up and this won't collapse. So this falls will be limited in size. That's what I'm saying. So I'm going to go with the bull case, which is A, rather than the bear case, which is point B. Okay, and I don't think September is going to be a good month either for Meta anyway. But the analysts are still positive on it. How about ServiceNow? Well, of course, it will be operating in that broader environment, and it too looks like it's going to go lower, and the issue becomes, does it go lower and go up, in which case the MACD on the monthly has overtaken, and so this falls and then goes up, or does it break and all bets are off? Well, the bear case, B, is what Michael, thinks is going to happen. I still think we're going to be looking at this, but we'll observe again next week. Well, Friday, when I do my end of week observation. Don't forget that campaign for 1 million folks. And if you're not already on the Great Investments Program, well, you may want to consider getting on. Thank you very much.